I do want to ask you this, because Mike said they obviously want to keep all negotiations between team and Joe private. How much of a challenge is this, Duke, trying to construct a quarterback contract and negotiate a quarterback in this market now where quarterbacks are getting the kind of money they're getting?
It's maybe a little slower than we would like, but we're up to it. Joe's worthy. He's earned his way, and we want to have a long relationship with him. So with that in mind, that it makes the work easy, and so we're working away, and hopefully we'll be able to do something. But I don't have any updates on it. But when you're talking about doing a contract that is a sizable contract, you always put a lot of thought into it.
Joe had mentioned earlier in the spring that he was involved in the process. Is that rare to have a guy of his stature involved in a process like this?
It's hard for me to answer that question. I think everybody's interested in things that affect them, present company included. So I don't know many that bury their head in the sand when things like this come up.
Duke, how much is timing a part of this puzzle? Training camp opens tomorrow, then we got preseason games, then we got the season. How much is getting it out of the way, getting it settled?
I think getting it right probably is more important, and so we'll see where it goes. But there's a lot of things that you think about. But when there's something to announce, we'll announce it if there is, and that's really all I've got on that. I don't have any details that are eye-opening.
If I may, one more, and it's not even specifically on that. It's obviously there are other contracts that are important to this team. Obviously, T is one that's been talked about. Jamar next year. Does Joe have to be done first to see what that looks like before you can work on the others, or can you do them simultaneously?
I don't know. We'll see. The contract stuff, it's a little kaleidoscopic. They don't happen individually. They happen collectively, and we've got one pie, and we've got to try to divvy it up the best we can, and hopefully we'll be able to make people happy when we do that, make enough people happy. But it is what it is. We'll do the best we can. When you have good players, these are problems that you have, but I don't consider them problems. We're just trying to keep our team together the best we can, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. We'll see.
When it came time to roster construct, and you looked at the way the last two seasons ended, and all you can do is put yourself in a position where you're one play away again, right? From winning a Super Bowl or getting back there. What did you look at, Duke? You and the staff say, okay, here's what we had to do to help us maybe make that one extra play or win that one extra game again.
Well, every offseason is similar. We're looking at guys, maybe that are free agents that can come in and fill a role that we'd like to improve a little bit, or a role in which somebody has vacated a spot. And then you always have to have the young guys that are coming on board. You always have to have a pipeline of young players that are coming onto your football team that can have a role immediately and then grow into much bigger roles. And so that's our focus when we look to add players. Is there a veteran that can fill a specific need, and then which young guys can come in and really grow within our team structure. The other thing that we're always mindful of is who fits on our team. Who fits from a character standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, from a talent standpoint. What we want to do and how we want to do them marries together. And we want guys that come into our locker room and add to it, not take away from it. So we spend a lot of time thinking about that and trying to uncover which guys would be good fits.
Duke, would you say that character standard's a little higher than it might be for other teams?
I don't know. Character is it's multifaceted. It's not one thing. You could say, well, he did X and that was distasteful. But character also is part of your football demeanor and how you prepare and what football means to you and how you treat your teammates in the locker room and whether you're able to go the extra mile. Do you bring other people along? It's not always did he do X or Y off the field. That's a component of it, but we're hiring these guys to be football players. So character really is how they approach their football job. And yes, we want good citizens. We definitely, because you can be a more productive football player if you're a good citizen. But the character that we talk about is how that they approach the game of football, the thing that we're employing them to do. Now, a lot of our guys probably wouldn't be great accountants or salesmen, and if we were looking for those, we'd be wanting people that, wanted to travel and sell and do all the, but we're looking for football players. So we're looking for guys that are motivated to make themselves better and the people around them better.
How would you describe that process with Zach and Mike's and the rest of the?
Yeah, it starts with our scouts. I mean, those guys are competing every day when nobody sees them and nobody even knows they're competing. But they're at a school and they're competing. They're trying to get the information. They're trying to evaluate correctly. They're trying to uncover what we need to know to make good decisions on them. So it starts with our scouts. And then we come together and we start talking about these guys. And as they describe the players, the vision of how they would fit starts to come into Zach's mind and my mind and the ownership's mind. But it starts with our scouts. They're the ones that have built the vision, because they're the ones that have uncovered these things that have been really positive for us.
When you see the valuation now of passing in the NFL, and you have a star player quarterback and 2 star wide receivers,
right?
And you step back and you look at that from your job of trying to keep those guys together for a long time, how hard is that when you have 3 stars and 3 very high profile positions of trying to keep them all?
I think you try, you try, and you try to allocate your resources the best you can to make enough people happy with their situation that they'll stay and continue, to develop. If that's not the case, you add to the pipeline and you find the next wave of guys, But when you have success, you want those guys to stay. You want those guys to continue to have success together. I think they all like playing with each other. I think they enjoy being around each other, So we want to use that to try to get, a longer-term relationship with a lot of them. But, football is it's a short-term minded thing. We're trying to win this year. We've got these guys this year. That's the focus of our football team, is go out and win this year. Now, some of us maybe think towards the future, but the goal is this year. The goal is right now. We want to win. That's every year, but it's this year too. And we have these guys, they play well together. We want to keep them healthy. We want to keep them improving. There's nobody that we have on our team that can't improve. And so we'd like to see that. And then if they're together forever, that's fantastic. We'll see.
When you lose veteran DBs that's such a locker room, as opposed to, and including the talent that Bates and Bell had, how important was it to have those leadership qualities and the rash of young DBs you drafted to be able to step right in and play right away, whether
it's hard to replace guys that play together and lead and like our guys have. And our young guys, we think, are up to it. They've got the physical talent to do it. They've got the intelligence to do it. They have the desire to do it. Now is the time that we start growing that group together. And we've got great coaches that'll put them in positions to challenge them and to grow the trust between them. And that's what you have to have on defense. You've got to trust the people around you. You have to trust that the guy next to you is going to do the right thing, so then you can do your job. And that's one thing that's made our defense really good is our players have understood it. They played fast and they played productively, and that's the big thing. And Lou's going to get these young guys up and going. It'll take time. They won't walk in like Jesse and Vaughn, but they've got the talent to play, and I think they'll eventually grow into that.
How big of a get was Orlando Brown?
It was, it may be something we didn't expect, but, some opportunities come up in free agency, and you either have to transition quickly to take advantage of them or not. And in that particular instance, we transitioned pretty quickly to see if there was an opportunity there. And I know he was interested in us. That goes a long way. We thought his talent fit what we want. We thought it's a high-level player at a high-level position, which is something you look for, and then we were able to make the contract work. And and so it came together. So, yeah, when opportunities come up, you got to be ready to strike, and Orlando's been great so far.
How big is the Joe Burrow factor in those kind of things? You know, you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow. How big a ripple effect is it amongst the league of other players?
Well, I mean, yeah, I like being around Joe. I would assume other people do too. He's a good player, and we got a good team. And high-level players want to be around good players and want to be on good teams because they all believe that they deserve to win it all. And Orlando certainly does. And so when you have a strong team, sometimes you get opportunities that you might not otherwise have.
Duke, what's the key to keeping the morale up with Jonah with a position switch, Joe Mixon with a contract restriction? What is the key for you to?
I think our guys are made of the right stuff to put that away and to focus on the task at hand. They all want to win. They're all competitive, and when it's time to think about that stuff, I think they do. And when it's time to focus on playing and winning, I think they can do that too. And I believe that they're made of the right stuff to overcome those things.
When you say made of the right stuff, the teams that are real successful have an ability to self-police. I mean, the players do.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have a lot of guys that need policing.
Yeah.
You know, they you know, if that's the case, sometimes that's not a good sign. When you have 2 or 3 guys walking around the locker room making sure everybody's doing the right thing. If you got a locker room full of guys already doing the right thing, you don't need that. And you know, we believe in a lot of our guys, and they know what it takes now, and they're confident in the fact that they know what it takes, and so that's always a positive. They've been there before, and they're hungry to get back.
What was your reaction to that running back group holding that meeting and talking about perhaps even forming a coalition?
Yeah,
what is the status of the running back?
I didn't have a thought on that. I don't have much information on that. I maybe read a blurb about it, but I don't have fully developed thoughts. I think by nature, you know, people want to feel respected, and they want to be paid. Everybody would like to be paid a little more. You know, that's not uncommon. That's human nature, and so I don't have a strong perspective on that. I know from our standpoint, we had to do something that was correct and right for our football team, and we came to an agreement with Joe that was also acceptable for him, and that was the art behind that.
Is it pretty obvious that the hierarchy of what positions make what is changing?
I'm not sure that they're changing. They're not changing. I think they're relative to the player and what the individual player means to the individual team he's on. But yeah, you know, corners are going to make a lot, left tackles are going to make a lot, quarterbacks are going to make a lot. People tend to be paying wideouts pretty good right now too. So.